There comes a moment in every person's life when chaos rises like a storm around them, when the winds of confusion beat against their mind and the shadows of uncertainty stretch themselves across their path, whispering fear into the cracks of their resolve. These are the moments that shake even the strongest souls, the moments that can make a person's heartbeat feel like a war drum, pounding beneath the weight of stress and pressure. Yet it is in moments like these, not in the quiet and easy seasons, that you are given the sacred invitation to grow into your true strength. Anyone can be calm when the sun is warm and the sky is clear. Anyone can smile when the way forward is obvious. But the true test of spiritual maturity, the true mark of a person who understands purpose, destiny, and divine identity, is the ability to stand still and remain calm when everyone around them has surrendered to panic. Calmness is not weakness. Calmness is not passivity. Calmness is authority. It is the quiet roar of a soul that knows who controls the outcomes of life. The steady confidence of someone who understands that storms do not decide destiny, they reveal it. There is a hidden power in being calm that most people never discover because they spend their lives reacting instead of responding. Reaction is automatic. Response is intentional. Reaction is survival. Response is leadership. And when the world spirals into fear, people who react get swept away in the current, but people who respond rise above it. When the voice of panic tries to take control, calmness becomes a weapon that cuts through confusion. Calmness becomes clarity in a world drowning in noise. Calmness becomes strength when everyone else is exhausted from their own anxiety. You must learn that staying calm is not something you do only when life is gentle. Staying calm is something you train your spirit to do until it becomes your natural state, until peace becomes your home, not your visitor. You cannot lead yourself or anyone else until you master the discipline of inner stillness. And inner stillness is not the absence of storms. It is the unwavering belief that the storm cannot take you where God has not ordained you to go. To be calm when everyone else is losing control, you must first understand that you are not shaped by the environment around you. You are shaped by the environment within you. The outer world will always be unstable, unpredictable, inconsistent. But the inner world, your thoughts, your convictions, your beliefs, can be anchored in truth, in faith, in identity, in purpose. Most people live their lives waiting for external peace before they allow themselves to feel internal peace. This is why they spend years trapped in cycles of stress and worry. They say, once everything settles, I'll relax. Once things improve, I'll breathe. Once the problem is solved, I'll be calm. But life does not work that way. External peace is not the source of internal peace. Internal peace is the source of external peace. What you cultivate inside eventually commands what happens outside. And when you understand this, you stop giving your power away to circumstances. You stop letting the behavior of others dictate the condition of your heart. You stop letting temporary storms convince you that your future is in danger. You begin to walk differently, think differently, and breathe differently because calmness becomes not something you practice. It becomes who you are. Calmness is not a natural gift. It is a spiritual discipline. It comes from knowing where to place your trust. A person with misplaced trust will always be anxious because they are leaning on things that can fail. If you put your trust in people, you will be shaken when people change. If you put your trust in money, you will tremble when money fluctuates. If you put your trust in circumstances, you will collapse when circumstances shift. But when your trust is anchored in something eternal, unbreakable, unmovable, you cannot be shaken by the uncertainties of life. Calmness is the fruit of trust. Anxiety is the fruit of doubt. And every day, whether you know it or not, you are watering one of these seeds. Every thought strengthens one of these roots. Every belief feeds one of these trees. You must choose which one you allow to grow in the garden of your spirit, because whichever one grows will eventually control your emotions, your decisions, your reactions, and your destiny. One of the reasons people lose control so easily is because they live in a culture addicted to speed. Everything is fast, fast decisions, fast emotions, fast reactions. People get angry fast, discouraged fast, offended fast. They panic the moment something doesn't go their way, as though discomfort is a sign that everything is falling apart. But the wise understand that speed is often the enemy of peace. When you are in a hurry, you are more likely to misjudge, misunderstand, and misinterpret everything around you. Rushed emotions are rarely accurate. Rushed decisions are rarely wise. Rushed reactions are rarely loving. That is why calmness slows the soul down. Calmness forces you to pause long enough to see clearly. Calmness lifts you above the noise. Calmness keeps you from speaking words you can't take back, from making decisions you'll regret, from allowing temporary feelings to scar permanent relationships. Calmness gives you the perspective that panic blinds you from seeing. There is a difference between pressure and purpose. Pressure comes from the outside. Purpose comes from the inside. People who live under pressure crumble easily, but people who live by purpose stand firm even when the pressure increases. When everyone else is losing control, they remain steady because they are not responding to what is happening around them. They are responding to the calling within them. A person who understands purpose cannot be easily shaken. They may feel the winds of fear, but they do not move. They may hear the voice of doubt, but they do not bow to it. They may feel the weight of uncertainty, but they remain grounded. Purpose gives you something that pressure cannot break. Purpose makes you stronger than the storm. Purpose makes you rise when others fall. When you know who you are, you stop living from a place of survival and start living from a place of assignment. And when you live from assignment, you stay calm because you know that nothing happening around you can disrupt what was planted inside you by God Himself. Sometimes the chaos around you is not meant to defeat you. It is meant to reveal the emotional weaknesses you have been avoiding. Storms expose hidden instability. Pressure exposes hidden fear. Conflict exposes hidden wounds. But exposure is not punishment. Exposure is invitation. Exposure is the opportunity to confront what has been controlling you silently. Exposure is the moment you finally see what needs to be healed, strengthened, or surrendered. And once you see it, you can overcome it. Calmness is not pretending that nothing bothers you. Calmness is acknowledging what could bother you, but choosing not to let it control you. Calmness is emotional maturity. It is the power to rise above what used to pull you down. It is the ability to stand in the middle of chaos and say, I refuse to give this storm authority over my spirit. People lose control when their identity is unstable. When you define yourself by things that can change, chaos will always frighten you. But when you define yourself by truth, by who God says you are, no chaos can shake you because nothing around you has the power to redefine what you already know. Calmness comes from identity. Calmness comes from knowing that you were created with intention, crafted with wisdom, designed with purpose, and equipped with everything you need to overcome the challenges set before you. You are not a victim of circumstance. You are not the product of other people's actions. You are not the sum of your mistakes. You are not the reflection of your fears. You are a divine creation with a destiny that cannot be canceled by chaos. And when you know this, truly know this, you carry yourself with a quiet authority that confuses those who expect you to collapse. The world does not understand calmness because the world celebrates noise. The world celebrates drama, outrage, constant reaction, but heaven celebrates stillness. Heaven celebrates discipline, wisdom, clarity. Heaven celebrates those who refuse to hand their emotions over to circumstances. When you are calm, you are not being passive. You are being powerful. You are demonstrating that your spirit is in charge of your emotions, not the other way around. You are training your mind to submit to truth instead of lies. You are choosing faith over fear, wisdom over impulse, purpose over pressure. Sometimes the reason you must stay calm when everyone else is losing control is because you are the one assigned to carry the light in the dark room. You are the one called to stand when others fall. You are the one chosen to see clearly when others cannot see at all. Your calmness may be the anchor someone else needs. Your calmness may be the stability that keeps your family from falling apart. Your calmness may be the example that teaches someone who is drowning in anxiety that peace is possible. Never underestimate the power of your stillness. Never underestimate the influence of your composure. You may not realize it, but someone is watching you, someone is learning from you, someone is gaining strength from your ability to remain grounded. Calmness is also a form of protection. When you are calm, you make fewer mistakes, you speak less foolishness, you avoid unnecessary battles, you refuse to engage in arguments that rob you of your focus, you keep your energy for things that matter. When you are calm, you can hear the whisper of God more clearly. Anxiety is loud, fear is loud, doubt is loud, but direction is quiet, wisdom is quiet, revelation is quiet. If you want to hear clearly, you must learn to quiet your spirit. You must build a relationship with stillness. You must become comfortable with silence. Because it is in silence that the deepest clarity comes. The greatest battles are not fought externally, they are fought internally. The battlefield is your mind, the enemy is your thoughts, the victory is your peace, and staying calm is how you win. You win when you choose not to be provoked. You win when you refuse to let fear dictate your decisions. You win when you don't let other people's chaos become your chaos. You win when you protect your peace as though it were your most valuable possession, because it is. Peace is the foundation of wisdom, the doorway to clarity, the birthplace of good decisions. People who lose control lose peace. People who stay calm guard it. One day you will look back at the moments that once terrified you, and you will laugh, not because they were funny, but because you will realize how much stronger you were than the storm. You will realize how unnecessary your fear was. You will realize how faithful God was. You will realize that your calmness did more for your life than your panic ever did. Panic drains you. Calmness strengthens you. Panic confuses you, calmness sharpens you. Panic blinds you, calmness reveals truth. Anxiety whispers lies, calmness whispers destiny. You must learn to stay calm not just for yourself, but for your future. Your ability to remain steady in seasons of confusion determines the level of responsibility you will be trusted with. Greatness demands emotional discipline. Purpose demands stability. Destiny demands maturity. You cannot lead nations, families, companies, or movements if your emotions collapse under pressure. Leadership is not measured by how loud you are. Leadership is measured by how steady you are, especially when the world trembles. Staying calm is an act of faith. It is a declaration that says, I know the storm is real, but I know God is greater. I know the pressure is heavy, but I know purpose is stronger. I know the situation looks impossible, but I know the one who makes all things possible. Calmness is the outward expression of inward belief. It is the fruit of spiritual confidence. It is the evidence that you trust the path laid before you, even when you cannot see the next step. So breathe. Slow down. Do not rush into panic. Do not collapse under pressure. Do not let fear take the throne of your heart. Stand firm. Think clearly. Move wisely. Choose peace daily even when your emotions resist it. Remember that storms do not break people. They reveal them. And every time you stay calm in the face of chaos, you are proving to yourself and to the world that your identity is bigger than the situation you're standing in. You were created to rise, not crumble. You were designed to lead, not panic. You were called to walk in authority, not fear. The calmness within you is a gift, a weapon, a shield, a sign of maturity, a mark of divine identity. Let it strengthen you, let it guide you, let it transform you. And when everyone else is losing control, let your calmness be the reminder that you are not just surviving, you are becoming who you were always meant to be. There is a quiet transformation that takes place within a person when they finally learn that calmness is not something they wait for. It is something they choose, something they build, something they commit to every single day, even when their emotions fight against it. Calmness is not the absence of feelings. It is the mastery of them. It is the moment when your spirit rises and reminds your mind that fear is not your ruler, anxiety is not your identity, and chaos is not your home. Every time you choose calmness, you strengthen the muscles of your inner world. You prove to your future self that you are capable of carrying more than you once believed. You prepare yourself for greater responsibility, greater purpose, and greater influence. Calmness becomes the foundation on which your destiny rests, because a destiny built on panic will always crumble, but a destiny built on stillness will stand the test of storms. When you stay calm, you tap into a dimension of wisdom unavailable to those whose minds are clouded with fear. Fear narrows your perspective. Calmness expands it. Fear traps you in what is happening now. Calmness allows you to see beyond the moment. Fear makes you react emotionally. Calmness lets you respond spiritually. The calm person sees paths that the anxious person overlooks. The calm person hears instructions that the panicked person cannot discern. The calm person identifies opportunities buried beneath layers of confusion because their mind is not trembling under the weight of worry. There are blessings you will only recognize when you slow down enough to see them. There are doors you will only walk through when your spirit is steady enough to turn the handle. There are breakthroughs waiting for the version of you who knows how to breathe in the middle of the storm and trust that clarity will rise once the noise settles. Calmness is the atmosphere where faith becomes functional. Faith was never meant to exist only when life is comfortable. Faith was designed to thrive in tension, uncertainty, and impossibility. Faith activates its power when circumstances contradict what you believe, when everything around you screams that you should give up, fall apart, or run away. Faith is strengthened when you stand still long enough to see that what was terrifying at first glance is powerless in the presence of someone who refuses to panic. Calmness is the incubator where faith breathes. When your spirit is still, your faith has space to grow, to speak, to lead you forward with confidence instead of confusion. Every person who has ever accomplished something extraordinary learned at some point that they could not allow their emotions to be louder than their purpose. They learned that calmness was not optional, it was essential. They learned that a steady heart can do more than a frantic mind ever could. There is also a profound emotional healing that takes place in the heart of someone who embraces calmness. Many people live in a constant state of unrest, not because of what is happening around them, but because of what has been happening within them for years. Old wounds, unresolved pain, childhood fears, past betrayals, these things create an inner storm that follows them into every situation. And because they have never confronted the thunder inside their own soul, every external challenge feels like a threat to their survival. But calmness forces you to look inward. Calmness gives you the courage to face what you've been avoiding. Calmness reveals which emotions are coming from the present moment and which ones are echoes from your past. And as you learn to separate the two, you begin to realize that not every fear deserves your attention, not every memory deserves your energy, and not every emotion deserves your reaction. Calmness stabilizes your heart so you can heal without being overwhelmed by the process. To be calm when others are losing control is to become a guardian of your own peace, refusing to allow people, situations, or fears to invade the sacred sanctuary of your inner world. You do not owe your peace to anyone's expectations. You do not owe your calmness to the approval of those who do not understand your journey. You do not owe your stillness to people who think peace is weakness simply because they have never known it themselves. You owe your peace to your purpose. You owe your calmness to your calling. You owe your stillness to the person you are becoming. When you protect your peace, you are protecting your future. When you remain calm, you are preserving your clarity, your wisdom, your identity, and your destiny. The more calm you become, the more unstoppable you become. Sometimes you will be surrounded by people who thrive on chaos because it distracts them from facing their own truth. Do not allow their storms to become your storms. You cannot calm someone else's chaos if you allow their chaos to infiltrate your spirit. You cannot offer stability if you sacrifice your own. The world does not need another anxious soul blending into the noise of fear. The world needs people who can be a lighthouse, steady, unshaken, and shining, even when the waves rise high. Your calmness is a ministry. Your calmness is a silent sermon. Your calmness speaks louder than your words ever could. It says, I refuse to let this world dictate my peace. I refuse to let circumstances dictate my identity. I refuse to let fear dictate my destiny. And when other people witness that calmness, it awakens something inside them. It makes them question their own panic. It makes them wonder if peace is possible for them too. And slowly, your calmness becomes contagious. The truth is, you cannot stop storms from coming into your life, but you can decide how you will face them. You can face them trembling, or you can face them trusting. You can face them reacting, or you can face them responding. You can face them with fear, or you can face them with faith. Every storm gives you a choice, and your calmness determines whether that storm becomes your teacher or your tormentor. When you face a storm with fear, it torments you because you are focused on everything that could go wrong. But when you face a storm with calmness, it teaches you resilience, patience, discipline, wisdom, and trust. The storm that once intimidated you becomes the storm that elevates you because you refuse to let panic shape your perspective. Your calmness also improves the quality of your relationships. People who constantly live in anxiety often misunderstand others, assume the worst, and react to problems in ways that create more damage than resolution. But calmness allows you to listen more deeply, speak more wisely, and respond more compassionately. Calmness turns conflict into understanding. Calmness turns tension into growth. Calmness turns conversations into bridges instead of battles. When you stay calm, you give people space to express themselves. You give situations space to reveal the truth, and you give yourself space to discern what truly matters. Calmness transforms you into someone who is difficult to offend, difficult to provoke, and difficult to manipulate because your emotions are not easily hijacked by temporary feelings. There will be moments in your life when staying calm feels impossible. Moments when the pressure becomes overwhelming, when everything seems to be falling apart, when your heart races and your thoughts swirl in every direction. But it is in those moments that calmness becomes the most powerful act of faith you can practice. Calmness is not pretending that everything is okay. Calmness is declaring that even if everything is not okay right now, you believe that it will be. Calmness is holding on to the truth that storms are temporary, but your strength is eternal. Calmness is choosing stability even when instability surrounds you. Calmness is not denial. It is alignment with the deeper reality that your purpose cannot be destroyed by pressure. One day you will thank yourself for every moment you chose to stay calm when chaos demanded your panic. You will thank yourself for every moment you breathed deeply instead of reacting impulsively. You will thank yourself for every moment you protected your peace instead of letting the situation control you. You will thank yourself for learning the discipline of inner stillness because that discipline will carry you into places where panic could never take you. Calmness opens doors because people trust those who are stable. Calmness creates opportunities because people are drawn to those who can think clearly under pressure. Calmness elevates you because true leadership is impossible without emotional strength. Never underestimate the power of a calm spirit. A calm spirit can break chains and cycles, heal wounds, restore relationships, and reveal truth. A calm spirit can walk through the fire and come out unburned. A calm spirit can stand in the presence of giants and remain unshaken. A calm spirit can silence storms with a single decision. I refuse to surrender my peace. Calmness is a declaration of independence from the tyranny of fear. Calmness is the anthem of a heart that knows who is guiding its steps. Calmness is the mark of someone who refuses to lose themselves just because the world around them is losing control. So stand tall in your calmness. Let your peace speak for you. Let your stillness strengthen you. Let your steadiness guide you. You are not fragile. You are not weak. You are not powerless. You are equipped, strengthened, empowered, and destined for greatness. And every time you choose calmness, you are stepping deeper into that greatness. You are rising above the noise. You are becoming the version of yourself that fear hoped you would never become. You are becoming unstoppable, not because of your loudness, but because of your stillness. And when everyone else is losing control, you will be the one who stands firm, breathes deeply, sees clearly, and walks forward with confidence, purpose, and unshakable peace. Calmness becomes a lifelong companion when you begin to understand that life is not happening to you. It is happening for you, shaping you, refining you, preparing you for levels you cannot yet see. And nothing prepares a soul for greatness like the ability to remain steady when the world around them trembles. Every challenge you have ever faced was an invitation to grow in calmness, to deepen your resilience, to expand your emotional capacity. The moments you thought would break you were actually the moments strengthening you. The situations that once scared you into silence are now the very experiences teaching you to speak with authority. You begin to see that every storm you survived planted something inside you, something fierce, something wise, something unshakable. It planted the knowing that chaos has no power over someone who understands their identity. When you stay calm in the midst of confusion, you shift the atmosphere around you. The energy changes. The environment responds. Even people who are drowning in panic begin to slow down, breathe deeper, and find clarity simply because someone in the room refused to be moved. This is the quiet influence of a mature spirit. A calm spirit does not need attention to be powerful. It does not need applause to be effective. It does not need permission to shift the environment. True power does not shout, it stands. True confidence does not tremble, it breathes. True authority does not rush, it waits. And the moment you understand this, you realize why calmness is one of the greatest spiritual strengths a person can possess. It is the strength that makes you dangerous to fear, unattractive to confusion, and immune to emotional manipulation. Staying calm does not mean you lack emotion. It means your emotions do not control your direction. You feel fear, but you do not follow fear. You feel anger, but you do not act out of anger. You feel pressure, but you do not let pressure dictate your decisions. This is what emotional maturity truly is, not the absence of feelings, but the leadership of them. Most people allow their emotions to drive their life. This is why their life is unstable. But when your spirit leads your emotions, stability becomes your home. Peace becomes your language. Wisdom becomes your default. Your emotions no longer command your destiny. They serve it. They no longer interrupt your purpose. They align with it. Calmness is what teaches your feelings their place. There is something remarkable that happens when you stop reacting instantly to everything that bothers you. You begin to discover how much of your stress was unnecessary. You begin to realize that many things that once triggered you do not even deserve your energy. You begin to see how many battles you were fighting that were never meant to be yours. Panic makes you pick up weapons that were never assigned to your hands. Calmness protects you from fighting battles that drain you. Calmness teaches you that not every situation needs your reaction. Some situations simply need your silence. Some conflicts need your absence. Some storms need your stillness. And when you operate from that calmness, you stop wasting energy on things that cannot change your destiny and start investing energy in the things that can. There will always be people who misunderstand your calmness. Some will label it coldness. Some will interpret it as pride. Others may think you don't care. But you cannot afford to let their misunderstanding make you abandon your peace. People who are addicted to chaos often feel threatened by someone who is free from it. People who live in constant emotional turmoil may not know what to do with someone who is stable. Calmness exposes the turbulence in others, and turbulence is uncomfortable. But that is not your burden to carry. Your responsibility is your spirit, your peace, your path. You are not here to make chaos comfortable. You are here to represent clarity, wisdom, and stability. And as you continue to walk in calmness, those who once misunderstood you will eventually seek the very peace they once criticized. When you embrace calmness, you learn that silence is not emptiness, it is strategy. You learn that pausing is not weakness, it is wisdom. You learn that breathing deeply is not escapism, it is alignment. You learn that stepping back is not avoidance, it is stewardship of your spirit. Calmness slows you down just long enough for truth to catch up to you. It gives heaven time to speak before your emotions make a decision they cannot undo. Calmness opens the door for divine insight, and when you operate with divine insight, you are no longer intimidated by the unknown. The unknown becomes a canvas for possibility instead of a trigger for fear. You begin to recognize that calmness is not just emotional control, it is spiritual positioning. It positions you to receive, to discern, to understand, to choose wisely. To stay calm when everyone else is losing control is to demonstrate a rare form of courage. Panic is easy, anger is easy, fear is easy. Anyone can lose control, anyone can collapse, anyone can explode under pressure. But it takes courage to remain steady. It takes courage to breathe slowly when your mind is racing. It takes courage to pause before responding. It takes courage to trust when you cannot see. Calmness is courage wrapped in silence. It is bravery dressed in peace. It is strength hidden in stillness. And this kind of courage does not shout, it endures. Calmness also creates room for transformation. When you stop letting panic lead your decisions, you begin to notice patterns you never saw before. You begin to recognize the emotional habits that have been sabotaging your life for years. You see how often your fear has spoken louder than your purpose. You see how many times you allowed someone else's instability to pull you out of alignment. You begin to understand that your emotional reactions were not flaws, they were untrained responses. And just like a muscle, they can be strengthened, shaped, disciplined. Calmness becomes the gym where your emotional strength develops. Every moment you choose peace over panic, you are lifting spiritual weight. Every time you choose silence over reaction, you are building resilience. Every time you choose wisdom over impulse, you are gaining strength. Slowly, without even realizing it, you become a different person. A person who no longer falls apart when the world shakes, a person who no longer collapses under pressure, a person who stands firm even when surrounded by uncertainty. There is a version of you that exists on the other side of calmness, a version that sees clearly, speaks wisely, reacts slowly, and leads courageously. That version of you is not distant, it is not unreachable, it is not mythical. It is being shaped right now by every moment you refuse to panic. It is being molded every time you choose patience. It is being built every time you refuse to let fear dictate your actions. Calmness is not just something you practice, it is something you become. And once it becomes who you are, storms cannot unmake you. Pressure cannot undo you. Fear cannot destabilize you. You rise above the noise, not by fighting it, but by refusing to resonate with it. Understand this, the world will never stop giving you reasons to panic. Fear will always try to whisper. Pressure will always try to push. But calmness is the shield that protects you from internalizing the chaos around you. And the more you use that shield, the stronger it becomes. There will come a day when the things that once overwhelmed you no longer faze you. There will come a day when situations that once broke you no longer move you. There will come a day when storms that once terrified you now teach you. That day is the day you realize that calmness has become your identity, not just your practice. Life will reward your calmness in ways you cannot yet imagine. Doors will open because people trust those who are stable. Opportunities will come because clarity sees what panic overlooks. Relationships will deepen because peace creates safety. Your decisions will improve because wisdom thrives in stillness. Your purpose will advance because fear no longer has access to your emotions. Calmness becomes the bridge between who you used to be and who you were born to be. It becomes the breeding ground of confidence, wisdom, and strength. It becomes the quiet force that moves you from survival into destiny. And as you continue growing in calmness, you will realize that staying calm is not just a skill, it is your spiritual authority. It is the evidence of a disciplined mind. It is the mark of a person who knows heaven is guiding their steps. It is the whisper of a soul that refuses to bow to chaos. It is the proof that you trust the divine timing that governs your life. So remain calm, not because life is simple, because you are strong. Remain calm, not because everything makes sense, but because you are anchored in purpose. Remain calm, not because storms won't come, but because storms cannot remove what was planted inside you by God Himself. And when the world around you loses control, let your calmness be your testimony. Let it be your strength. Let it be your shield.